Hi, I'm Brent Sinclair and welcome to Knight Frank's Property Update. This month I'm joined by prominent developer, businessman, member in the Order of Australia, and advocate for Maitland and the Hunter, Mr. Hilton Grugeon, who's here to talk about investing in the Hunter, Newcastle and the Hunter's ability to handle change, and his outlook for the region. Thanks for joining us today, Hilton.
Lovely to be here.
So, Hilton, you're best known as a property developer with Hunterland and GWH, but you've also owned a stake in over 100 actively traded businesses, as well as your various work with non-for-profits, including Hunter Medical Research Institute, and you've been awarded as a member of the Order of Australia for your contributions to the economic development of the Hunter, which is a very impressive award. But just focusing on property, Hunterland are the largest developer of industrial land in the Lower Hunter, and GWH one of the region's largest diversified developers and builders. Just to touch on a few projects industrially, you've done Cardiff Industrial Estate, Thornton, Beresfield, Dubbo, Singleton, Rutherford. With GWH, you've also done projects such as Sky Residences, Aero Apartments, the Mercure at Williamtown, and various other shopping centres, industrial and commercial projects. So my first question for you is, you've obviously put a lot of your personal investments into the Hunter. Why should people and businesses be investing in the Hunter?
Well, it's the best place to be. And it's a place that is growing and prospering, and that's the place to invest. You don't want to be investing in a place that's going backwards. A declining population in itself is a big impediment to future prosperity and values.
Yep.
Property values here have always been steadily rising. We haven't had the peaks and the lows of the capitals, but I recall one time when there was a 10% fall in values in Sydney and Melbourne, and an article was published and there was a 16% rise in Edgeworth, a Lake Macquarie suburb. So that's typical of what happens here. We're just steady in our growth. So when there's downturns in the market, they're never as severe as they are in the capitals. So why is it so stable? It's because the growth is consistent. And like any region, we have our ups and downs, but the ups and downs that we have, we've been able to benefit from and keep growing. And I'm personally based in Maitland, which is 20 miles west of Newcastle. I liken it to the Parramatta of the Hunter Valley. Charlestown I liken to the Chatswood of the Hunter Valley, where we're now building 18-storey buildings. But because we've got this population that's growing and prospering, we don't have huge unemployment problems here as some regions do, because there's so much happening that everybody that wants to get out and have a go can have a go.
Yeah. And Hilton, you talk a lot about change. How is Newcastle and the Hunter positioned for future change?
Well, Newcastle and the Hunter has seen enormous change and come through it and come out the other side. Take, for instance, BHP, the huge steelworks, for which Newcastle became known for 100 years. They turned up in 1914 and built the steelworks here because of the fine coking coal that was available under the ground here, and the good harbour facility and the ability to move goods in and out, and the workforce that was here that was based on mining, Anglo-Saxon mining communities, which were able to adopt the BHP steelworks as a great way forward. And when I was a kid at school, there was some 30,000 people working there, and everybody left school to go to BHP as a trainee metallurgist or engineer, or as a tradesman, an apprentice, or as a labourer. But by the time the end of the century came, so when they came was the best thing that happened to Newcastle. The next best thing that happened to Newcastle was they left again, because they had outlived their use-by date had come up. And the huge upheaval from that, which to many was going to be the doom of us as an economic powerhouse, actually was the beginning of a new era that, as the community grasped it and moved forward, so that was the second best thing that's happened. So when it comes to change, and there's change coming, like, let's not be crazy. We are so much generating wealth from the coal industry, but coal is on the way out. It's only a matter of time when we will have superseded fossil fuels in the same way as that we superseded steam engines. And we're moving forward, but this region has proven that we can adapt to change and move forward. So that instead of being a steel-based town, and even before that, a coal mine-based area, we are now a so diversified area, and we've got defence industry, we've got medical research, we've got the university town, which is growing into the city from the suburbs where it's been traditionally based, and it's all growing. There's nothing like growth to generate wealth.
Yep.
And to generate value in everything that's involved.
You look back, but looking forward, what would you like to see for the next 5 to 10 years in Newcastle and the Hunter region?
Carry on. The people say to me, so what sort of industries are going to come to this industrial estate? Well, I say, I haven't got a clue. All I know is that whatever the opportunity is, I want to be able to grasp it. And if you turned around and said, oh, well, that new industrial area at Thornton, which incidentally, when BHP closed, they shed 1,800 jobs. That's all that was left. And within a couple of years, we had 2,000 new jobs in an area that was completely undeveloped, out at Thornton, at the end of the freeway from Sydney. But those jobs are so diversified. If somebody had said, oh, do you think you should develop something somewhere for treating calf fetal blood to get stem cells? We'd say, what on earth is that? We've not only got one laboratory there, we've even got two. But be in a position where whatever the opportunity is, you're able to grasp it and run with it. Not be so tied up in your own thinking of where we're going. And most things happen from things happening, not from all the planning and all the grand ideas. In the same way that most good things happen in spite of, not because of, government. Government's got to be there to try and keep up with us as we keep moving forward. But Maitland, as the Parramatta of the Hunter Valley, when I went there was less than 30,000 people. We're now over 85,000. Each one of those people need a home to live in, they need a school for the kids to go to, they need the medical facilities, they need the university for the kids, they need everything that's involved in growth, and we've got it.
Well, look, thanks very much, Hilton. Thanks for sharing your insights with us and joining us today. Well, that's all from us. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll be sure to keep you updated throughout the year.